You see the sororities open the door and it's just like a bunch of the same looking girls and they're singing at you. I'm being rejected for who I really am. Rejection is protection. This is how I mastered the art of detachment. Hi, loves. Welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking It podcast. I'm Elisabeth, your host, and today we are diving into the topic of rejection. But first, I'm going to bring you back to the OG roots of this podcast and talk about things that I've been consuming, things that I've been loving lately. So, I'm firstly going to mention my chai tea latte that I made. It's actually Indian cha. That's what they call it. And cha actually means tea. So people get mad when it's called chai tea because it's basically saying tea twice. But anyways, my best friend is Indian and her family taught me how to make authentic Indian cha on the stove. So I'm going to say it's not as good as they make it, but it's getting better. And so I just made this right now. And it's basically just black tea and like different spices, cardamom. You can put ginger, cinnamon, things like that. But yeah, I love it so much. And the next thing I've been consuming, which is actually the opposite almost of consuming, it's this app called Opal, OPAL. It basically blocks any apps that you want it to block. So I have Instagram blocked from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. because that's the time that I want to be doing work or I just don't want to be distracted. And then I also have a morning block for it. So literally, if I try to go on the app, it'll say, sorry, be strong, but obviously, like you can unblock it, but it just takes an extra 20 seconds. And in that time that you're thinking about unblocking it, it's like, I don't even care anymore. I don't want to go on the app. So I love that. I also blocked Amazon during the day, and I've just been making it a goal not to online shop honestly at all or as minimally as I can because I feel if I really want something, I could just go to the store and get it if I want it that badly. And the amount of resistance that I feel when I realize that I can't go on Amazon and then I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I guess I can prolong getting the item and then when the time comes I don't actually even need it. It tries to make you think that you have to pay, but you don't. You just keep pressing the X at the top, kind of like the Flow app. And it like makes you think that you have to pay for it to work, but you could just keep declining and you can use the features as normal. And then my last, I guess, obsession. Well, I just binge watched The Running Point on Netflix with my mom in 2 days. There's about 8 episodes. They're 40-ish minutes long. And I love that show because I love Mindy Kaling, which I want to bring up her in later in this episode. But I love her because she also, if you don't know her, helped write The Office. She wrote one of my favorite shows, Never Have I Ever. And she had the Mindy Project, and now she has The Running Point with Kate Hudson and Brenda Song. And she's done so many other things I don't even know, but I love her. I think she is so subtly funny or just like non-cringily funny, if that makes sense. I don't find her shows cringy. So, yeah, and I have her book too. Okay, now let's go into the topic of today's episode, which is all about rejection. So, I am going to start with a story. Let's talk about it. Okay, just straight into the story. When I was in college, I was freshly coming out of my high school friend group that I've grown up with, and making friends for me was not that it wasn't hard in high school and growing up. It was just that once I had a friend group, it was hard for me to make friends outside of that. I had a really good friend group all throughout high school. And then I moved to San Diego for college, not really knowing anyone. I felt like such urgency to make friends and to almost recreate my friend group essence. I lived on an all girls floor. I remember that first week of move-in, my dad was with me, so I didn't really get to spend that much time in the dorms during that first week. So I felt like I almost missed out on an essential part or essential time of moving into the dorms. And that's when everyone had their doors open and they were going in and out of new rooms and whatnot. And I remember when I got back, everyone kind of seemed as if they already had made their friend group, and I felt so stressed out about it. Luckily, I loved my roommates and they were like, we had a great relationship, but I remember, so they were going through recruitment for sorority recruitment, and I had no idea at all, like anything about sorority life. But funny enough, when I was in high school, I had such a weird inclination that I was going to start a sorority, or that I wanted to start a sorority. And it was a very split second thought. I didn't fixate too much on it because I didn't know anything about sororities. Like, I feel like for most state schools, sorority life and frat life are held on such a high, like a high standard. And if you are not in one, you are almost socially doomed. And that's kind of how I thought about it. That's the extent of what I knew, but I didn't know about the process, about how to go through recruitment. Like, legit, you guys have seen on TikTok where it's during recruitment week and you see the sororities open the door and it's just like a bunch of the same looking girls that open the door and they're singing at you. That's legit what it was. I was in line with literally thousands of girls, and I didn't know how, one, ready you had to be physically and mentally prepared to talk to so many different types of people. And they're literally voting on you as you're talking to them. They're creating a number scale of what they want to rate you. I ended up having good connections, but I was so shy and I felt awkward. I felt out of place. I felt so much pressure to speak a certain way, to look a certain way. I did not end up getting any of the houses that I wanted, any of the sorority callbacks or whatever. And so I felt so rejected by that. It was humbling because I felt rejected because I didn't feel like I was being myself. And I thought, if only I had tried to be myself, or if I just did what I naturally do. And then I ended up reading a self-help book. It's called You Are a Badass. I'm going to be myself. And so then when sophomore year comes around, I decide to go through it again, but this time truly just being myself and not trying to compare myself to anyone around me, not trying to force certain conversations. And I just was vulnerable. And I realized that vulnerability is a power. I form way better connections. I ended up getting so the last two houses that you get are, it's like before bid day. I forget what it's called, but bid day is when you open a card and and it reveals which sorority picked you. I open my card and I get the house that I don't want, that I only connected with literally one girl. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even go to that celebration day with the sorority that chose me, and I was considering not doing it at all. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to join the sorority and see if I can form a connection. I'm going to try. And again, I feel that discomfort and that, like, almost that rejection of not fitting in with the different groups within the sorority, if that makes sense, forced me to hone in on, like, what am I longing for? I wanted a way to connect with other gym girls. So I looked up fitness clubs at SDSU. I was even down to join a yoga club, like anything. And there was nothing. I was like, okay, I guess, this is not something that people want. So then I discovered this female weightlifting gym in San Diego. It's called the Glute Lab. So I saw that on this girl's story that went to SDSU. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I need to go there. And I DM'd the owner, Brett, and he didn't reply. A year goes by, and I'm thinking, how do I go there? It's not a public gym. Finally, I messaged Brett on Instagram. He replies, inviting me. The first day, it is like a sorority for fitness. In the best way, though. This girl, Dom, she's in a bikini. She's like, I'm going to the beach after. Like, let's do this. Come on. And she's like going to deadlift literally 315 pounds. Just casually reps it out. And I'm over here like, what the hell? And all the girls are like, come on, you got it, screaming at her. That planted the seed of where I am today. I had an idea to start something like that at SDSU. So I was like, what if I just make a club version of this? We meet up at the gym sometimes. We have meetings. Some of these girls can be guest speakers and talk about how to lift heavy, because I've never seen that level of strength in among women before. I decided to start Girl Gains, which is a female weightlifting club. The first meeting, 60 plus people came, and it was on Zoom. And then the next year it was in person, and the room was like 100 girls, filled up the entire room. Now Girl Gains is on 100 college campuses, and I work at the Glute Lab. The rejection of freshman year Lizzie from the sororities was redirection. I needed to pivot. I needed to read that self-help book and realize, okay, you know what? Being me is enough. Second rejection. That one stung even more, because I think this is me. I'm being rejected for who I really am. And then the rejection of just not having places that I felt like I belonged in forced me to keep trying new things and also refining. Why isn't this working? What did I like about this group and this community event? And what do I like? So finding the Glute Lab. And then rejection could be me, oh, this owner didn't reply to my message. Like, that's rejection. A year goes by and I still want to go there. Literally the worst that can happen is he says no or he doesn't reply. So I try again. All of those things, all of the blocks that you hit, it so matters how you respond and the narrative that you create. Choose to have it empower you and think this is happening for a reason. All of the rejection that you may experience, or all of the delays, even if you're feeling frustrated or just hopeless about not fitting in, lean into that. If you're not fitting in, then it's for a reason and you're meant to do something with that discomfort. Rejection is redirection, and also rejection is protection. So maybe me joining, I always think about this. If I had got into the #1 sorority, I don't think I would have started Girl Gains. And I view that as protection from being in places where I'm not supposed to be. If you can get rejected but still believe in yourself, that energy will exude out onto everything. Like, you're not going to be desperate for anything, because you know that you can wait. You know that better things are coming, that other doors are opening. I also want to say too, if you have an idea and you don't act on it, that idea is going to follow you and literally haunt you until you act on it, or you might see somebody else act on that idea before you. So if you have an idea, imagine how it would feel to watch someone else execute that idea. Take action right now and you can perfect it later on. It's not to say that one idea is going to be the thing that makes you successful or super happy or whatever it is, but it's like a stepping stone. I think of life like an experiment. This is how I mastered the art of detachment. I am a scientist and I have a bunch of hypotheses. So I choose one idea. So then I perform my experiment, and I can't try to control the outcome, right? I need to just be present in that experiment and not try to over control it. And then whatever result comes will guide you for the next decision that you make. I have a boyfriend, right? My hypothesis could be, okay, I really wanted to work with him. We'll get married. Okay, that could be a hypothesis. I cannot control the outcome of that relationship. I can't try to manipulate the experiment and make it so that we do get married. I have to just let it happen. I have to ride it out and see, how do I feel in it? How does he feel in it? How do we coexist together? Are we growing? Are we not? You get to a point and you look at the hypothesis and you think, okay, is that happening or is it not going to happen? You can't cling so much to the idea that you have in the beginning, like, oh, we have to get married. It's just, oh, I would like to, but I know that I cannot control the outcome. So then with whatever decision that you have at the end, that allows you to pivot. Okay, yeah, we are going to get married. Okay, then from there, you know where to move. But to plan beyond that is almost like setting yourself up for failure, because you're trying to control so many things. And when it doesn't happen, you're creating such unnecessary anxiety in yourself. Whereas if you just say, this is my hypothesis. What happens beyond that, that's not where my energy needs to go right now. I definitely think, seeds are planted and they grow at different times, and you tend to different seeds at different times. Like, not everything is in season all at once. So just honor the season you're in, act on your ideas, and respect the rejection, lean into the rejection, and use that as a time to really look within. Anyways, thank you so much for listening in today or watching. If you enjoyed this, please comment, subscribe, follow the pod, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until next time, see you.